Hello, this is Sheshachalam from Astrology at Mysore. So today we are discussing Matsya Yoga. So this yoga has been referred in many epics and also in by many renowned astrologers. And this yoga has a complicated placement. But complicated placement doesn't mean that this yoga is rare. This yoga is seen in many charts. People who have far-sightedness, intuitiveness, people who can, foresee things, also will have a glimpse of this yoga. That is a small stint of this yoga. Anyway, let us go through this yoga. Matsya Yoga. The meaning of Matsya means fish. So Matsya Yoga needs you to see the benefics and malefics peculiarly placed in the chart. The trines are of utmost importance in this particular yoga. The fourth house is also very important, and I will come to that and I'll tell you why these are to be seen. See, a yoga can be simply explained, but why this yoga works like that and why the results are to be said like that are it's a very intricate thing to think of. But anyway, we'll go into the details now. The first most important factor would be benefics posited in the first trine, that is the first house, and the third trine, which is the ninth house. So we know there are three trines: the first, the fifth, and the ninth. Body, mind, and the soul. The first, the fifth, and the ninth. So we'll think about it slowly. The first house, the body, the self, and the ninth house, the soul, should have benefics posited in that particular place for that chart. So people will ask, what are benefics? So yoga karakas for that chart they are called as benefics. Good benefics like Jupiter, Moon, Venus, Mercury, when they are not afflicted, they are naturally benefics for people who have to see the future. So these are the planets which are analytical planets, planets of intelligence, wisdom, practical implication, and vision. Intelligence, Mercury; wisdom, Jupiter; practical implementation, analysis, Venus; and vision, Moon. So all these four have to be well placed in a chart, and that's a very big yoga for a chart. But not that now in this Matsya Yoga that I am asking you to verify that all these four have to be well placed. No, I'm just giving you a list of benefics. The Yoga Karakas, the trinal lords for any chart are said to be benefics. So, the first factor is benefics in the ninth house and the ascendant. Here it is and the ascendant. That means both the factors have to be present. Second factor, fifth house should be occupied by both malefics and benefics. That means there should be some mixed kind of placement there in the fifth house. The fifth house is the mind. But also the most important thing is Purva Punyasthana. The astrologer has come into this world with a karmic birth. If Matsya Yoga tells that this person with this yoga can become an excellent astrologer, the astrologer comes into this world, becomes an astrologer after that because he has a karmic birth, a prarabdha, shows Purva Punya Prarabdha. As the saying goes, astrologers are like lamps. They glow and show path or give predictions to the others. They are not for themselves. That is the prarabdha of an astrologer. An astrologer goes through all hardships in the life. You people can see the only one part or two parts of an astrologer: his family, his money, his becoming famous. But he will go through a very tough, challenging life. That is the prarabdha of an astrologer. So, the fifth house. So, the third most important point here is malefics, and only malefics should be posited in the fourth and the eighth houses. So, what if the fourth house is empty and the eighth house has a malefic? It can be considered. What if only the fourth house has a malefic and the eighth house is empty? That also can be considered. But if it is empty, it can be considered. But if there are benefics in the fourth, benefics in the eighth, this yoga gets cancelled. So that means the first two factors, that is the ninth and the ascendant, should have benefics. The fifth should have a mixed kind of a position, a combination. It's not that the fifth house must have a mixed combination. It can also be empty, but see where the fifth lord has gone and the disposition of that fifth lord's dispositor, and see how the fifth lord is placed. What are the aspects on the fifth house? You will understand whether it is giving only benefic results or malefic results or mixed results. So the fifth house has to have a mixed kind of a placement. So in this case, the Matsya Yoga is constituted. So this person can become an excellent astrologer, a foreseer, a person who can show the path, predict, and also define what is good and what is bad for a native. Will be very kind, compassionate, humble, highly analytic, very high analysis. His brain works very fast, and that happens because of both a malefic and a benefic combination in the fifth house, the house of imagination. He goes into abstract modes of imagination. He has to go into the depths. You cannot go into the depths if only you have benefics. You need to have a strong malefic for you to sit and do the research. Benefics is like, I am very comfortable, I'm very happy, I don't want to do anything which is hard. They avoid hardships. Jupiter, Venus, Moon, and Mercury, they avoid hardships. Mars, Sun, Saturn, Rahu, they enjoy hardships. They love getting a fruit after doing something challenging. They do not want a free meal. They work hard for it. So malefics in the fifth house means that the person will go in depth into the analysis and bring out something which he has researched.
Just an example, sir. Maybe a Jupiter and Ketu combination.
Yeah, Jupiter and Ketu combination, the person will delve into it in depth. So, if there is a huge negative aspect on the fifth house, where there are benefics placed in the fifth house, also can be taken as a strong combination for the fifth with malefic and benefic mixture. Very analytical, famous they become, because now fame is a negative aspect as per astrology. Try to understand this, you will understand better. Fame is nothing but trying to mask the real effort of an astrologer. He will start getting into the limelight, he will lose his track. That is why a malefic in the fourth house. More the fame the astrologer gets, he loses his personal life, he loses his enjoyment, he loses his time for himself. So what will happen is that he doesn't have a comfortable time to spend on himself. Yeah, no family time, very less time. People will be standing in the queue for meeting him. So he will get involved so much into his own work, which he started as a passion, which will actually become a difficulty for him in his future because of the fame. He can't go out anywhere. People will recognize him. So he goes through a lot of hardship. So there have been many famous astrologers who have spoken about this. They lose their family life. So, spiritual lent, they bend towards spirituality. If you have a benefic planet in the ninth house, you get a beautiful guru, you get an excellent teacher. A good astrologer should have a good mentor, good teacher, good resource, and excellent sense of foresightedness. So, if this is not there, no one can become an astrologer with a weak ninth house. The ninth house has to be benefically protected and strong. In cases of Saturn in the ninth house, in cases of Rahu in the ninth house, check which particular house or which Rashi it is posited in. That also can be benefically posited. Don't think that only Jupiter, Venus, Mercury, and Moon will become benefics and any one of them should be in the ninth house. Nothing like that. For that particular chart, like for example, if the ninth house falls in a particular place where, let's say, it is Chitta Nakshatra, and Mars is placed there in Chitta Nakshatra. It's a benefic. It's a fantastic benefic position of Mars in Chitta Nakshatra, and or Rahu in Satabisha Nakshatra, or you have a strong Jupiter placed in Pushya, in the sign of Karkataka Rashi, where it is exalted, being the ninth house for Vrishchika Lagna. So there are, Scorpio Lagna. So there are many placements where we feel that the planet which is placed there will give benefic results specifically for that person to become an astrologer, because he will get an extraordinary guru or an extraordinary path which will suggest him where to go and what to do and when to do. So Matsya Yoga can make you a very good astrologer, can give you extraordinary strength into doing research, and an excellent placement of planets in the Matsya Yoga can really make a person go deep into astrology and give you the exact results. One placement which I did not actually explain now is, the eighth house. The eighth house, if a malefic is posited in the eighth house, it will shunt the desires of the native. Stunt. It will become, stunt growth means it is not fully developed. You have a benefic in the eighth house, like a Jupiter in the eighth house or a Venus in the eighth house. He will have extraordinary desires. I want to do this. I want to eat that. I want to become that. I want to accept money. I want to become rich. I want to do. When you have Saturn in the eighth house, the wants are very less. You give him a little, he will tell that I get 2 square meals a day. I'm happy. Contentment. An astrologer needs to have contentment. He should not be like, dissatisfied, frustrated. A person, as an astrologer, should first be content, be peaceful, and should be only the soul when he is seeing the horoscope, not that he is a frustrated human being. If a frustrated human being is seeing your horoscope, what will he see in the horoscope? He will be comparing his own fate with your horoscope, right? So that should not happen. He should be content and peaceful, and he should be seeing your horoscope as the torch illuminates the darkness. The light illuminates the darkness. The light does not have the mind as to what it is illuminating, but the one which gets illuminated will know where to go, what to do, and how to live. That is the native who is showing the chart. So that's how astrology works, and that's how Matsya Yoga works. Thank you very much for today's class.